Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna go through my TBR. You already seen my May TBR. I'm gonna go through my TBR for June and July. Excuse me. I figured if I do kind of a TBR ahead of time, then I'll more stick to my schedule or my books that I want to read. I have a lot of books I want to read. I just added a ton to my TBR. I got a gift card for Mother's Day, and I finally feel better that I can go and get the books that are on my TBR, but I think I will wait maybe until summertime and maybe kind of give myself a book date, shop date, or a day when I go get books, something like that. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to show you I put together my TBR cart. It was originally a 15-minute video, and I went through it and I'm like, that is really, it was a snoozer. So I cut out a bunch of stuff and it's only like a minute and 45 seconds, and then I added this part to my intro. Okay, so on to my TBR list for June and July. So you've seen my May TBR list. I'm in the middle of The Maid. I'm halfway through that book. And then these are The Maidens, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, and The Midnight Library. Those are my other books to hopefully finish in May. And since I'm halfway through The Maid and it's May 20th, I hope to get done the rest of my May TBR, because that will probably be the most books I've read in a month, which is good. For June, because it's kind of one of those months, I don't know how busy work will be, but I also think I might have like 1 week off in June when I don't work. So because of that, I kind of went really overboard in my TBR list. Instead of 4 books, I picked 5 books. So because it's the start of summer for us here, well, right now it's still a rainy day, as you can kind of tell, I decided to pick my first Tessa Bailey book. It Happened One Summer Night. So funny thing is about this book is I probably read the back of this before, but I didn't realize until now. I just started to watch that TV show on Netflix, Schitt's Creek. And I turn around and look at this book and it says Tessa Bailey is back with a Schitt's Creek inspired rom-com about a Hollywood it girl who cuts off from her wealthy family and exiled to a small Pacific Northwest beach town where she butts heads with a sexy local who thinks she doesn't belong. So it's actually kind of funny that I just started to watch Schitt's Creek and this actually has kind of a Schitt's Creek reference, which I think is really neat. This is the first book. The second book just came out in March or April, I don't remember. But this is the second book, Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. She has another book that's coming out in June that I really want to read. It's not a spin-off of these 2 books, but I'm actually really excited to read these 2 books. And mostly thanks to Bookstagram and my book friend Donna from Moods and Pages. I will put her link down below so you can check out her channel. If you need book recommendations, I'm going to say that a lot of these books that I do have are not only from Bookstagram, but a lot of them are because of Donna also, because she recommends so many great books. And I trust her recommendations. So I have either read or my book, or I have one of her books on my TBR list. I want to say thanks to her, I started to see the Sarah J Maas books everywhere on Bookstagram, and I was kind of interested in them and kind of not. And then I believe there's 2 videos she did of the Crescent City novels, and I'm like, okay, I need to read Sarah J Maas now. So thank you, Donna. I got a very long book, Sarah J Maas, or a very long, I don't know how to say it. I think I have a feeling that I will enjoy the Sarah J Maas books. And they might take me about 3 months, but I have the whole Court of Thorns and Roses series, and then I have the Crescent City series right now. I'm going to get through those before I look at her other series. Because it's summer, and because, I don't know, if you guys watched This Is Us, the last episode is this week, and I know this is not a show video, but This Is Us has given me all the emotions from the 6 seasons and from the very start. And I feel like this last episode is just going to be all the emotional damage. Like, this show has given me emotional damage, and I've had this book on my shelf for a while. This was the first book that I bought by Colin Hoover, and I'm finally gonna jump into it, and I feel like this book will give me emotional damage because everybody in the book world has told us that this book has emotionally damaged them. So I'm gonna dive into my first Colin Hoover book. It Ends With Us. I do have 2 of her other books. Actually, the first book that I bought from her was Verity. That's kind of a thriller, so I think I'm more excited for that because I'm more of a thriller person than, I guess, romance. I don't know. I'm more rom-com, so I'm not really sure what to expect from this book. I don't believe it's a rom-com, but I guess we'll have to see where it leads me. And because last year I read my first book by John Green, which was The Fault in Our Stars, that book, I must say, did give me a lot of emotional damage. Especially like the last 3 chapters, I believe I shed a tear. So because of that, I got the rest of the rest of his books. I believe I have them all. I'm not 100% sure. But I got lucky and I found the rest of his books that I know of at my local thrift store, and I got really excited. So every time I saw one of his books, I'm like, I gotta buy it, and I bought it, and now they're on my shelf. So I decided I'm gonna read this book. So Looking for Alaska. This book says, before Miles Pudge, Halter's whole existence has been one big non-event, and his obsession with famous last words has only made him crave the great perhaps. Francis, rebellious poet, even more. He heads off to the sometimes crazy, possible, unstable, and anything but boring world of Culver Creek boarding school, and his life becomes the opposite of safe, because down the hall is Alaska Young, the gorgeous, clever, funny, sexy, self-destructive, messed up, and utterly fascinating Alaska Young, who is an event onto herself, and she pulls Pudge into her world and launches him into the great perhaps and steals his heart. Excuse me. So I feel like if I finish my other books in May, I might just jump into this one, because this is not one that, I believe I saw this on Bookstagram or BookTube once, and because everybody raved about John Green's The Fault in Our Stars, I haven't seen any of his other books. on Bookstagram or on YouTube. So the other books that I have by him are An Abundance of Catherines, Paper Towns, Let It Snow, and I believe I'm just looking at Turtles All the Way Down. There's another one on here called Will Grayson, Will Grayson. Yes, so according excuse me, according to this, I have all of his books except for the Will Grayson book. So if you have not read The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, I recommend you read it. It will definitely give you an emotional roller coaster. It was really sad. So I don't know. I'm really excited for this one. I don't think it will be sad. I just think it will be like kind of more upbeat, maybe, if that's the case. I don't know. Anyways, Nicholas Sparks is an author I've heard so much about, and he has so many books out, and I've never ever in my life read a book by him. Again, thank you Bookstagram. I finally picked up one of his books at my thrift store, and I've seen this movie, Safe Haven. So I'm going to read this book. I've seen the movie first. I'm not one to watch movies and read the books usually, but lately, if it's a book and it's been made to a movie, I try to read the book first and then watch the movie if I know ahead of time. For example, last year I read The Help. And I knew The Help was made into a movie, and I had to finish reading the book before I watched the movie. Now, for some reason, don't ask me why, but I'm not 100% sure if I actually watched the movie. I'm not sure why. I swear I sat down and I watched the movie, but I can't remember. So, very random. I thought also to, I would tell you in this video kind of what to expect next. So I'm going to do a video on March, April book wrap up because I haven't done a wrap up. I will link these books in my Like to Know It app. I believe I didn't do it in the last video, so I'm going to have to go back and link those books that I showed you. Hi again! This is the books that I have from my July TBR. So I got another Winstead book, which is called Fool Me Once. This is, looks like a comedy book kind of ish. It says Lee Stone is a 21st century woman. She kicks butt in her job, communications directors at a woman-run electric car company. And after work, she is a stoner. She drinks guys under the table and never lets any of them get too comfortable in her bed. So this seems kind of like a girl power book kind of thing. This book I wanted to read back in October, and I never got around to it, but I'm going to read this anyways. Witches Steeped in Gold. I saw this book on Bookstagram last year, picked it up, put it on my shelf, never opened it. So this looks like this is kind of a fantasy book. Ira has spent her life in a cell, heir to an overthrown and magically gifted dynasty. She was exiled from her home on the island nation of Aisha when just a child, but every day brings her closer to freedom and vengeance. So I feel like I heard about this book lots on Instagram and Bookstagram, and I can't wait to read this book because it's been on my shelf for a while, so that's why I kind of grabbed it. I have 2 books from my Indigo's Top 10 of 2021 that I'm going to read in the summer. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Now, if this author sounds familiar to you, it's because her book Red, White, and Royal Blue has been raved about on Instagram, on Bookstagram, even on YouTube. I heard of that book first, but this book actually made the Indigo's top 10 of 2021. So that's why I picked up this book first, and this will be the first book by Casey McQuiston that I've read. Another book on Indigo's top 10 is by Chevy Stevens. It's called Dark Roads, and this is the author of the book Still Missing. I don't know why, but I feel like I've heard or I've seen that book on Bookstagram, unless I'm thinking about another book by Chevy Stevens. I don't know. But this is on Indigo's top 10 of 2021. So this is going to be in my July book read as well. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit that bell notification button so you're notified whenever I upload a new video.